23 cursed tools roam the world of Jujutsu Kaisen. Some are strong, and some do next to nothing. Regardless, today we are explaining all of them, from Miwa's katana to the inverted spear of heaven. And at the end, I'm going to tell you which one is the undisputed best cursed tool in Jujutsu Kaisen. So let's get started with Maki's glasses, which are one of the most important cursed tools in the show. Now, I know these might not be as exciting as some other cursed tools, but these glasses are what allows Maki to exist as a sorcerer. The effect is simple. They allow the wearer to see cursed spirits if they are not able to normally. These glasses are what allows Maki to do this, and they're the main thing that lets her utilize her heavenly restriction. They might not have a super cool effect like some of the other cursed tools we have to talk about, but they're still important. How they stay on her face 90% of the time, I have no idea. Another really important cursed tool is the black rope, which was used by Miguel in Jujutsu Kaisen 0. It has the ability to disrupt and potentially cancel cursed techniques, meaning it is one of the few ways to get through infinity. This rope took Miguel's clan several decades to weave, which is why it's so powerful, but the more the rope is used, the more it burns away, shortening it. The only time we saw it get used was in Miguel's fight against Gojo, where it was instrumental to Miguel's survival. Unfortunately, it is heavily insinuated that the weapon has since been destroyed or hidden by Gojo. Next, we have Slaughter Demon. This is the first of many cursed tools that doesn't seem to have any additional effects. It's just a cleaver-like knife that can hurt cursed spirits. It was used briefly by Yuji early into the series in order to supplement his lackluster cursed energy, but the blade did break when it was used against the finger bearer in the juvenile detention center. There are actually a lot of cursed tools that have no special effects or unique attributes. Because these are all essentially the same, I want to go over them all quickly to get them out of the way. First, we have Maki's two spears, which are used by her up through the Shibuya incident. Then we have Miwa's katana, which was broken against Hanami, and both of Megumi's blades, one of which was lost in Shibuya and the other of which was used in the Culling Games. There's also Mei's axe, which was used in defeating the smallpox deity, and Yuda's katana as well, both of which are still intact. The last cursed tool that has no effect is Nanami's blade. However, this one is a bit different. See, all the other cursed tools without an effect only existed for the sorcerers to use to supplement their curse technique or because they didn't have a curse technique. But Nanami's blade works excellently with his ratio technique, as the blunt blade allows for massive damage when used in tandem with ratio. Besides that though, there's really nothing that special about it and it hasn't been seen since we last saw Nanami. Next we have Gakuganji's guitar. Even now we don't know exactly what this cursed tool does, but it seems like it increases the effectiveness of his music-based technique. It's also possible that this tool gives his technique offensive capabilities, as we have seen Gakuganji use his technique with other instruments for non-combat purposes. This tool actually seems pretty strong from what we've seen of it, as it was able to successfully cut down Masamichi with little to no effort from the old man. Now we have one of the coolest cursed tools that belongs to one of the most annoying characters. It's the hand sword that belongs to Huda. Yeah, as much as I hate this guy too, he does have one of the cooler cursed tools. Huda's hand sword was crafted by Juzo, which is designed to hold his hand because he's weak. It comes with a few abilities, most important of which is the ability for the sword to act on its own under Huda's command. This allows the sword to move and communicate with the user in ways that would not normally be possible. The hand can also turn into a fist to become a blunt projectile and hover on its own. It can also turn into a ceiling fan. Despite all of these abilities, the sword itself is actually not that good, as it wasn't even sharp or strong enough to slice Nanami's shirt, but this could have also been a result of Huda's weakness as a cursed user. Now we have our first special grade cursed tool, Playful Cloud. Much like sorcerers and spirits, special grade cursed tools are extremely powerful, and as a result they will be hard to wield even for decently strong sorcerers. In fact, this applies to all other grades of cursed tools as well, so grade 2 sorcerers will struggle to wield grade 1 cursed tools, and so on. But we don't really know the grades of any cursed tools besides the special grades. Playful Cloud is pretty simple as far as special grade cursed tools go. It has no extra effects. Instead, its power is decided purely by the physical prowess of the user. So if a physically impressive person like Toji or Todo were to use it, it would be much more powerful than if someone like Nobara were to. It is implied that this effect might scale exponentially, as the damage done to Dagon by Toji and the damage done to Hanami by Todo was much more significant than anything Maki or Megumi was able to do with the tool. This tool might be the cursed tool we see the most of. It switches hands a number of times, but apparently the original owner was actually Toji. But the first time we saw it was when it was wielded by Geto after he absorbed the inventory curse that was holding it. He used Playful Cloud against Duda before it fell into the hands of Jujutsu High School, where it was put into storage before being used by Maki, Megumi, and Todo during the exchange event. The tool then makes another appearance in the fight against Dagon, where it is used by Maki before being taken back by Toji, who sharpens the ends, turning it from a 3-section staff into some double-ended spear that was able to completely decimate Dagon. Since then, it has been MIA, but it's kind of cool that the cursed tool ended up with the same person that it started with. The tool is also a reference to one of the author's earlier works, Giant Clouds, which was a book of poetry that he wrote before Jujutsu Kaisen. Next, we have another super important cursed tool. It's the Soulsplit katana. katana. This weapon is kind of insane. It can ignore all physical toughness to cut through a target and strike their soul directly. But in order to fully utilize this power, the user must be able to see the souls of inorganic objects, whatever that means. As far as we know, the only two characters that can do this are Maki and Toji thanks to their awakened heavenly restrictions, but it's likely Mahito might be able to fully utilize the sword as well thanks to his expertise with the soul. The Soulsplit katana is one of the most essential cursed tools to Jujutsu Kaisen. We saw it one-shot the Rainbow Dragon and one-shot Cursed Noya, but more importantly, it played a central role in Maki's mass slaughter of the Zenin clan, which played a major role in Makima's character development and changed the landscape of the world of Jujutsu forever. It's worth mentioning that, manga spoilers, the Soulsplit katana used for Cursed Noya and the Zenin clan massacre was a duplicate of the original created by Mai's construction technique. This sword was made in dedication to Maki, but Mai ended up sacrificing herself to make it. As far as we know, this sword has no differences from the original besides holding sentimental value to Maki. Next, we have another special grade cursed tool, and it's one of the most infamous cursed tools around, the Inverted Spear of Heaven. The Inverted Spear of Heaven has an effect similar to the Black Rope but pushed to the maximum. Any curse technique the Inverted Spear of Heaven comes in contact with is immediately nullified. This means offensive, defensive, and support techniques are subject to the effects of this weapon. We only get to see it in use 2 times. The first is when Toji used it against Gojo to break through his infinity and send the team to the brink of death, and the other was, well, against Gojo again. The second time, Toji used the weapon in conjunction with another cursed tool in order to fight the newly awakened Gojo from afar. The cursed tool was even able to protect Toji from a red without suffering any damage, which really proves just how strong its effect is. This weapon has since disappeared from the story, and it is believed that Gojo either hid it overseas or destroyed it altogether, which did end up causing him issues down the line, as the spear is one of the 3 ways to actually open the prison realm that Gojo got sealed in. Considering how strong the tool's technique stoppage effect is, I would love to see it reintroduced just to see how it would interact with some new techniques, such as Strong Dismantle or Angel's Jacob's Ladder. But for now, it seems to just be lost in the sea of unanswered questions in Jujutsu Kaisen. You know that tool that was used in conjunction with the Inverted Spear of Heaven? Well, it's this one, the Chain of 1,000 Miles. This is essentially a never-ending chain. The official effect is that its length is infinite as long as one of its ends cannot be seen. By keeping one end in the inventory curse, Toji essentially made it infinite, allowing him to fight Gojo from a range as we already stated. For some reason, the effect of this chain was omitted from the anime, so some of you might not even have known it was a cursed tool. Unfortunately, this is the only time we ever see the tool, as it did get destroyed by Hollow Purple seconds later. We also don't know a ton about this next cursed tool, but it is a bit funky. It's Nanako's phone. The basic effect of the tool is that it allows for the manipulation of whatever is in the photo that is taken by the phone. While this might be Nanako's curse technique working in conjunction with the phone, Sukuna seems to think it is an effect of the phone itself. What I think is going on is Nanako's curse technique is probably photo manipulation, and the phone is a curse tool that was either developed by Nanako's repeated use of the phone camera, or the phone was a previously existing curse tool that was used to bolster Nanako's technique. Regardless, the phone is used for her technique, and it seems pretty versatile. It can be used on opponents or on Nanako herself, but this kind of usage seems quite taxing on her. But it's not particularly taxing right now because she is, well, dead. Alright, we've got another big one. Literally. It's the Sword of Extermination, which is a cursed tool attached to Mahoraga. The Sword of Extermination is a sword that emits positive energy. This makes it extremely potent for killing curses, and it is implied by Sukuna that this sword will kill any curse it comes in contact with. This would make it extremely powerful on its own, but that's not the only use for this sword. As we see much later in the manga, when Mahoraga adapts to abilities that must be countered with slashing attacks, it uses this sword for them. We saw this application when Mahoraga did its second adaptation to Infinity, creating Strong Dismantle in the process. It's unclear if it was able to create this technique by using information from Sukuna's technique or if he just pulled it out of thin air. Mahoraga also has its wheel that it uses for adaptation, but as far as we know, this is not a cursed tool, just a part of its being. Next, we have another one of Juzo's creations, Dragon Bone. This is one of the coolest cursed tools in Jujutsu Kaisen. Its effect is fairly simple. Over the course of a fight, the sword accumulates cursed and kinetic energy. This energy can then be expelled out the hilt of the sword at the will of the user, allowing the sword to move much faster than it is usually able to, which in turn increases the user's physical power and makes the blade cut much harder than usual. Juzo considered this sword to be the pinnacle of his creations, and it was primarily used by Maki during her slaughter of the Zenin clan. But much like many of the cursed tools, we've not seen it since its one usage. Now, let's lay down the law with Higuruma's hammer, which is actually pretty cool. This hammer can do literally whatever Higuruma needs it to. It can be the size of a normal hammer, it can be made giant, it can turn into a staff to give him more leverage large or it can be made tiny for easier handling. He can even make it teleport if he wants, switching it between hands or putting it up in the air. It honestly seems to act more like a Shikigami than a curse tool. This versatility allows Higuruma to fight the way that he wants, and we see this used expertly against Yuji in the Tokyo colony, where the inexperienced sorcerer was able to use it in a way that forced the more experienced student into a corner, which is not an easy thing to do. Unlike a lot of the curse tools we've talked about so far, we actually know exactly where this one is, and it is still in Higuruma's possession as he prepares to fight Sukuna. Another curse tool introduced in the Culling game is the Festering Life Sword, the curse tool used by Kururushi, the cockroach cursed spirit. Fitting the theme of bugs, the Festering Life Sword fires insect eggs into the target upon impact. These bugs then grow out of the victim and burst forth through their skin. Pretty nasty, not gonna lie. It also seems like these insects completely ignore cursed energy reinforcement, as they had no issue burrowing through Huda. The sword can also be used like a regular sword, and if the victim has any open wounds, just a slash has a chance of putting insect eggs inside them. This curse tool actually seems really powerful, but the trend continues and we have not seen it since its single usage, and we also don't have any information on its grade. The final curse tool we have been introduced to up to this point is Kamutoke, which is currently in use by Sukuna. This is the weapon that Yozuru gave her life for, and it seems like a pretty good curse tool. Its main ability is to fire lightning from one of its ends, giving Sukuna yet another ranged option, not that he really needs it. Unfortunately, we don't know exactly how strong this tool is, as the only time we saw it get used was against Kashimo, who is immune to its lightning effect due to his own technique. I'm pretty sure this is the only ranged curse tool in the show, besides maybe Nanako's phone, and that alone gives it a huge advantage in the world of cursed weaponry. We'll probably learn a lot more about this curse tool as the fight with Sukuna continues, but for now we're moving on to an ambiguous case, the Prison Realm. I think the Prison Realm is technically a cursed object, but its function and creation seems a lot closer to a cursed tool. Plus, cursed objects are just not in this series anymore. Like seriously, when was the last time we were introduced to a new cursed object? So I think it would make sense to talk about it in this video, as I'll realistically never cover cursed objects. The effect of the Prison Realm is pretty simple. It completely seals anything that gets trapped inside it. This seal prevents the usage of cursed energy in general, cursed techniques, and it cannot be broken through physical strength either. Once inside, there is no way for the victim to escape. The only way for them to get out is if a technique nullification effect is applied to the Prison Realm or the back of the Prison Realm. This means in the entirety of Jujutsu Kaisen, there are only 3 ways to open the realm: the Inverted Spear of Heaven, the Black Rope, and Angel's Technique. Without these, it is estimated that the seal would take 1,000 years to break naturally. However, because of the immense power the Prison Realm holds, there is a condition to seal someone. They must be held within the radius of the Prison Realm for 1 minute within their mind. The within their mind part is very important here, as it is the reason that Gojo was able to be trapped in the first place. At this point in the manga, the Prison Realm has been opened and Gojo has been freed. It is unclear if the Prison Realm is still intact or if the process of opening it breaks the seal permanently. That's all the curse tools in Jujutsu Kaisen, so which one do I think is the best? Well, in my opinion, there's not really any competition. It is without a doubt the Inverted Spear of Heaven. This tool has amazing offensive and defensive capabilities, being able to cut through any curse technique and not taking any damage from any curse techniques. We saw this application of the spear against Red, so it's likely it would work on any technique it comes in contact with, potentially even those like Hollow Purple and Strong Dismantle. The possible applications for this curse tool are truly unlimited, and I think it has to be the best curse tool in the show without any contest. But let me know which one you think is the best in the comments down below. And while you're down there, why don't you go ahead and hit subscribe or maybe the join button. Thank you so much for watching this week's video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again next week for another video.